what I want to go over now is the 7 or 8 key elements that need to be in everybody's workout program if you're going to be successful with this. Now, what kind of exercise program do I need to be doing? Because that's the big thing for a lot of people is like they'll go online and they'll find some workout that they get off of a website, or they'll see something in a magazine they take a screenshot of. And that's great that you're taking action to do that. But what is it that I specifically need in order to be successful? And this is a universal set of rules that you can put into your program to make it so that it fits you perfectly, okay? The first thing that you got to have in your workout program if you want to be successful is a horizontal push, okay? A horizontal push movement. Now, what's a horizontal push? It's easier to just say like a bench press or a push-up, right? But any horizontal pushing movement is where you're either lying on your back and you're pressing out in front of you. You're horizontally pushing something, right? You're horizontally pushing something. That's going to work your shoulders. It's going to work your chest, your triceps, forearm flexors. I mean, there's so many different muscles that's going to be working in a horizontal push. So think about a push-up. Think about a dumbbell press while you're lying on your back, a bench press, a machine that allows you to press horizontally. Oh, and one more thing. These are all in order, by the way. And so I'm going to give you the 7 or 8 different elements, but when you go to actually write your own program, make sure that you write them in this order. Now, the next one in this is going to be a vertical pull. A vertical pull movement is anytime that you're either seated or standing and you're pulling something down from overhead, okay? So think about a pull-up, a lat pull-down on a machine, a resistance band pull-down, any type of movement where you're pulling something towards your body that's overhead. And by doing that, you're working some shoulders, you're working your lats, the big muscles on your back here, you're working some of your bicep, obviously forearm. Number 3 is, what's that? Horizontal pull. Next one is a horizontal pull. So first we had a horizontal push, right? Now we need to figure out a horizontal pull, where we're pulling something back towards us from a seated or standing position. So what exercises could you do for a horizontal pull? There's a seated row. There's a bent over dumbbell row. There is a standing row. Or there's, let's see, what's another one? Or you could even use a resistance band and put the resistance band like around the pole in front of you and pull that. And you can do both hands at the same time. You can alternate, or you can even reciprocate. So there's a lot of different movements within a horizontal pull. The 4th key element to your workout program is a vertical push. Now, a vertical push is, again, seated or standing, or even kneeling, and you're pressing something up into the air that's originating at your shoulders, okay? So think about like a dumbbell press. Think about like using a machine where you're pressing overhead. Think about a resistance band that you could press overhead. And again, you can use both arms up at the same time, you could alternate, and you can even reciprocate, again, using more core stability muscles by doing so. So the 5th part of a successful workout program, regardless of your fitness level, regardless of your fitness goal, is a hip dominant exercise. And a hip dominant exercise is as simple as a deadlift. An exercise that is focusing on the hamstrings and the low back stability and strength muscles. Now, a deadlift position is very different than a squat, and I'm going to try to do this as best as I can on camera. So in the squat, if I'm standing tall, in a squat I'm taking my hips all the way down to the floor as I'm keeping my chest up. So that's a squat, and by doing a squat you're focusing on your quads, hamstrings, core. But in a hip dominant exercise, we're focusing on the low back and the hamstrings, and the movement is different, so watch. So again, in the squat, my hips go down to the ground. In a hip dominant exercise, my hips stay up high and I bend from the waist Does that make sense? Let me know if that makes sense in the comments. Or shoot me some likes. Because this is really important that you don't mix these up. So, examples for a hip dominant exercise. Dumbbell or barbell deadlifts. It's the best one that I know how to strengthen that up. You can also use a captain's chair, Roman chair. You can use a Roman's chair at the gym where you're actually anchoring your ankles behind a pad and bending forward from your waist and then exhaling and coming back up. That's another way you can focus on that area. Another thing that you can do is a reverse hyper machine. Knee dominant exercises are the complete opposite of the hip dominant. This is actually where we squat, okay? So where we bend from the waist, bending the knees and keeping your chest up, okay? So again, squats, lunges, jumps like plyometric jumps, any exercise where you're actually lowering your hips to the ground using your quads, using your hamstrings and your core is a knee dominant exercise. Here's the 7th key element. This is a plyometric exercise, okay? Plyometric exercises have anything to do with jumping, whether it's jump rope, anytime that your feet are leaving the ground, that's a plyometric exercise. And by using plyometric exercises, it helps to strengthen the smaller stabilizer muscles that surround your knee, your hip, and your ankle. Now, a lot of people have really bad coordination, really bad stability, and just really poor balance. And the reason that is because you lack the stability in those joints. And so by doing plyometrics, you strengthen the smaller muscles around those areas, okay? So, some examples of plyometrics. Jump ropes, box jumps, single leg box jumps, double leg box jumps. You can work an agility ladder like you would see football players doing or other athletes. Those are all really good examples of plyometric exercises. Anytime your feet leave the ground, it's plyometrics. It's also really important that you focus on your core specifically, okay? Now, there's a couple different ways that you can focus on core. Okay, you can either focus on it by focusing on exercises that target your six-pack muscles, the ones that you would see without a shirt on, or you could focus on exercises that put an emphasis on core stability. And you could focus on core stability with planks, side planks, bird dogs, any exercise that you do in a half kneeling position. In a half kneeling position, I'll show you real quick, is literally just by bending down on one knee and sitting upright. Okay, so from the side, I've got one knee up, one knee down, and my chest is up. Now, if I'm in this half kneeling position, I can literally do every exercise that I could do standing or sitting. I can do a bicep curl. I could do a horizontal push, vertical push. I could do a vertical pull. I could do a horizontal pull. Okay? You can do any exercise from this position, but now because you're on one knee, you're putting a huge emphasis on core stability because as you work through your exercise, now your core has to work to keep you upright and straight. So that's the main stuff. Those are the 7 or 8 key points that you need to have in your workout program if you want to be successful.